Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. Now, obviously, Cheese out with a season-ending injury, but despite that, we'd already acquired the services of this great human being to help us through and guide us through the finals.
Guide and help? I don't know about that. I don't know.
Spiritual guidance.
I don't know about that.
Nathan Hindmarsh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, mate.
I don't see you as a fill-in. I see this as a marquee signing.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me here, everyone. Yourself, Jimmy. Unfortunately, Cheese, not here today. But no, it's good to be here. It's good to be in the hot seat. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to offer, but we'll see. We'll see where the show takes us.
Yeah, PCL, MCL, ACL, I think have all gone for Cheese.
All the L's.
All the L's. You were telling us an interesting story about when you hurt your knee in finals back in 05.
You don't need a PCL. That's what I worked out. I don't have a PCL. I think a lot of players play without a PCL. Don't ask me what it is or what it does. But I did mine in 05. It was the last round against Broncos.
So it's a bit like the appendix of the knee.
Or the liver.
No, you need your liver.
Do you need your liver?
Yes, of course. You absolutely.
Kidney, sorry. We don't need all your kidneys.
No, you don't need your is it your appendix?
Tonsils?
Tonsils, they can go.
You need a liver, don't you? You do need a liver.
Definitely need a liver.
Yeah.
You know what you should do for a great experiment?
Let me just write that down. Need a liver.
Well, if you behave like I do, you certainly need a liver.
Yeah.
But you know, it'd be a great little game. Well, maybe not a game, but experiment. If there's maybe, it's like, see how much of the body you can remove and keep someone alive.
I think that happens. I think that happens in like Thailand.
So tonsils go. Six again.
Adenoids can go.
What are adenoids?
Adenoids, I think they're near your tonsils.
Okay, they're gone. 6 again.
I think if you're a chronic snorer, you can get those out.
Yeah, 6 again. PCLs, they're gone.
They're gone. You don't need PCL.
Appendix.
Don't need that.
Do you need your spleen?
No, because I think you could get that removed because that breaks down fats. So I don't think you need your spleen. You don't need your nuts. Until you don't.
They're
just
gone.
they're useless things sitting there doing nothing.
I'm sure, you could remove the liver and just have a machine do the work for you.
I think it's dialysis. Is that
dialysis machine?
You can lose an eye. You can
definitely lose an eye
and one ear.
Like
Van Gogh. Van Gogh.
He chopped it off, didn't he?
Went mad on some drink apparently. According to Fletch. Absinthe.
Yes. It's illegal. It's illegal in a lot of countries, actually.
Yes. So Fletch had a big night on it once.
The bloody
Went
government.
a bit mad. But back to Cheeses now. Yeah, unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But
it is.
I look back to my story, if we're going to go down that path. No PCL. Missed out on all the semi-finals. We were minor premiers that year. And the boys, because I wasn't playing, they choked in the semi against the Cowboys, who went on and got beaten by the worst grand final in NRL history, I must admit. The Tigers v the Cowboys. Oh, what a stink fest. And I had the shits big time, so I didn't watch that. I was kicking the dog in the back room watching that grand final. But not really, people. I don't kick dogs. So before you get online and start abusing me for animal cruelty, I don't do that. I love my animals, I love my pets. But then I got picked to go over for the Tri-Nations or Four Nations. I think it was the Four Nations then. End of 05 season, I couldn't run. I got cleared to go to this on the Kangaroos trip, and I couldn't run a straight line. I couldn't run and I don't know how I got through the clearance. I got through the medical.
What, was there a lack of honesty from you, perhaps?
I said, "Oh, look, it's sore. Let me run." And in all honesty, it felt like when I ran, my right knee was bending up over to here. Like I had no control of my knee, and it was in pain. But they said, "No, you're on the plane." Didn't play a game over there. I've got a newspaper clipping at home, Daily Telegraph, and I'm at the, Eiffel Tower, Moulin Rouge, all that sort of stuff. He goes, why was this man, this was the article, why was this man sent on a $24,000 holiday? Because I didn't play a game. I had a time of my life. I think I left a week early. I didn't stay for the final. And the boys got pumped. I think the Kiwis pumped us in the final.
In 05, I can't
remember. Was it 05? Was 05? Yeah. You can't remember?
I can't remember what the results were.
I think it was like 32 blot.
Oh, really?
I could be lying. Head knocks.
Well, don't the internet leaves receipts. So I mean, if we could be bothered, we'd look it up.
But we're not bothered.
But we're not bothered.
No.
Mate, so what did you do for 3-4 weeks?
I tried running. I tried training, but then they just gave up, and so I just hung out with the boys, hung out with the emus, had a few drinks. Yeah,
Mate, you I can imagine you bringing a lot to the team chemistry there.
Of course I did. Yeah.
You're not just.
I brought the team together.
You're not there on hot. You're there to be part of the connection.
Correct. Yes, I was there more for team building.
Yes.
Yeah. Getting some of those rookies through. Probably some of them didn't get a start after that. So yeah.
Maybe you were the test if you act like. Sometimes coaches deliberately.
There's a time to be professional and there's a time to let your hair down. But it's just got to which way you balance that up.
Well, also, you've got to test those young lads out. So the senior player goes, I'm going for a beer. Does anyone want to come?
And you'll hope, what are you going to do? Hope they go, you know what? No, I've got a big game in a week. I'm not coming out.
Yeah, coach says no. Oh, it was all a test.
Right.
It was all a test.
And then you just send in big Petro.
Well, you were coached by Brian Smith. Allegedly used mind games.
On others, not me.
No.
I was like Magneto, had one of those helmets on that couldn't penetrate. I still shit myself though. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if coaches did that. I know how psychopathic they can be. Just test
to see where you're at. Yeah. Well, I think they were at the Hills training one day. The coaches didn't turn up. They didn't turn up for training. Like, we're all hanging out the front of the sheds, playing cards and whatnot. And there was a test. They wanted us to try and get ourselves ready and organise and get out in the field before everyone turned up.
What?
So that was a test.
So training starts at 10 tomorrow, lad?
Yeah, so we usually get there. So if training started at 10, you'd be strapped ready by 9:30.
Yeah.
So you're there by 9. You're an hour early, strapped ready to go. But because we didn't see any coaches or no one gave,
was that medical staff there?
We're quite young.
Yeah.
There was medical staff there.
So get you strapped.
But there was no, and then we're just bumming around and it's like 3 to 10, and we're not on the field yet. We're just still playing cards, euchre, and all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, all the coaches come in and just tear us another one for not being on the field ready to go. So we needed to be a little bit more professional.
It's funny that our coaches do
just test you every now and then. See where you're at. Yeah.
I listened to a podcast where. Do you know much about soccer or who's who in the zoo?
A little bit.
Well, basically, Mikel Arteta's the coach of Arsenal, the manager of Arsenal. He took them all to this restaurant and he hired professional pickpocketers.
Oh, bull.
Right? So they were in a pretty open space. And I think it was sectioned off, but pretty open. And it was no phones at dinner. And then he stands up at the end and goes, "Oh, right. Great evening, everyone. Is anyone missing anything?" And a few of the players were like, "Phone, wallet, watches are gone." And he just said, "Always watch your back."
Really? That was the test.
That was it. Yeah. And then the pickpocketers came and give them all the stuff.
Well, Wayne Bennett. I don't know if this was a test or not, but we're in France, and we were going to a castle, and I like castles, right? But I was unaware that a castle in France was a vineyard. So we've turned up to this vineyard, hours out of town, 4 hours on a bus. I'm like, you'd be able to go, I want to see this castle, all these moats and whatnot, and a bit of stuff going on in these things, bit of history about it. Get to this vineyard, looking around. This is a dive. I don't even like wine. And then me and Ogre started getting into it. And then we were the only two getting into it. All of a sudden, we've bought bottles. We're pushing down the lids in the back of the bus.
So what was everyone else doing?
Watching Ogre and I get shit-faced by the look of it. But we didn't know if it was because we didn't know it was a castle. We didn't know it was a vineyard till we got there.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was going on there. It was a bit strange that Wayne, of all people, would take us to a wine tasting, 17, 18, 20-odd rugby league players to a wine tasting.
Can just instant reaction is there was a castle visit gone wrong and it's been lost in translation. I reckon he's gone, let's do an historical trip. Let's go to a castle expecting what you were expecting. And he's just gone, oh, shit.
Oh, you reckon?
I don't reckon that's a test. I reckon that's
he's stuffed
I reckon that's a stuff up. I reckon that's a lost in translation. Le Casser, le Vineyard. Come. Yeah. And he's gone, we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got back to the hotel and got on the scotch. And I'm getting a stink with my old man.
Did you really? Over what?
I don't know.
Mate, wine into scotch.
Oh, yeah.
Is
silly.
great combination.
Oh, God, I was crook the next day.
Yeah, I bet.
Back of the bus, sad as hell. So sad. Wayne comes up and he goes, I don't know what it is with you blokes and wine. Why can't you just sip it? Why do you have to scull it? And I couldn't sit on the exercise bike straight. I could not sit on the... I had to go home the next morning. I had to go, leave training, go sleep it off, then come back and get flogged in the afternoon. Oh.
You know what? There's many a player, many a person that have been in that situation or that predicament. Still don't learn. For a lot of people out there, that'd be like, I'd never touch it ever again.
Oh, well, I know what. You know what? I very rarely touch wine. I'm not a.
Oh, it's scarred you.
And it has a bit. Yes. Yeah. Just the way it came back out. Yeah. Just very red and pink and burn and
very acidic as well. I imagine the wine on the throat.
And it's hard to know when you've had enough wine. You know, when you have when you're on the beer and you know your limit.
No,
neither do I. I'm just trying to make myself feel better.
I'm still trying to.
I don't know either.
Find that limit.
Yeah.
But if it tastes so good,
well, I think they're making the bottles smaller or something.
You reckon?
Because they go down they go down fast. Yeah.
See, I grew up on pints, and over here it's obviously schooners. So,
my first pint wasn't until year 2000, and I learnt a lot that trip. Stories for another day, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll reserve those for another day because we'll get stuck into the Roosters and their injury crisis. They lose Brandon Smith to an ACL. They lose Sam Walker to an ACL, and Victor Radley with a fractured scapula, I believe. So, 2 of the spine members, the 7 and the 9, are gone. I can't envisage Radley playing or being able to play with a broken scapula. You know what? We've got 5 weeks of the competition left to go. Even if they make the grand final, I can't see him being fit and being effective. Are the Roosters done?
Unfortunately, I think they are. And you could see what happened when Walker went off on the weekend, how they were lost. They got really lost. I know they've got good replacements, Sandon Smith. You know, Manu can play 6. They can do a bit of a reshuffle there. Docker Clay came on, played a bit of 9, and of course who else you got there?
Sualihi comes back in.
Sualihi comes back in, but with the way Walker's been playing this year, I don't think they can do it without him. I really don't. His crafty little kicking game. He's starting to turn into an Alfie Langer.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of style of player. I think he's instead of sticking to the rules, he'll go outside the square every now and then and create something out of nothing. So I think they're done without him.
They do rely a lot on him to come up with some individual brilliance.
Yep.
But I just wonder, you see, it's almost like it's history repeating itself with the Roosters and their awful injury luck coming in towards the finals. They've had countless seasons now where they've lost players. But I just wonder with this, do they just rejig how they play? So if you look at their middle, Hargreaves will be back after week 1 of finals, but they've still got a very strong middle with May, Lenu, Collins.
He got bashed yesterday, Collins. It's the first time I've seen him get bashed. The Raiders got stuck into him.
He had a bit of a push and shove, didn't he? Towards
I don't know whether he's grown his hair and it's made him a different player.
I'd still back that middle. Do they simplify things a little bit and obviously bring Joey Manu closer to the ball? And
do you put? That's it. Does Manu go into the halves?
I think he's got to.
Where does Watson go? 9? Do you play Watson at 9?
Yeah. Or Doc, maybe Watson. Maybe Watson at 6. Doc Clay at 9.
Watson. I don't think I think Watson has to be on the field.
Yeah,
he can't go off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So he's got to come into the starting team in some capacity. I don't know if all is quite lost for the Roosters. I think they're going to have to completely change how they play.
But when they need that something special, who's going to offer that?
Well, their record against the Panthers and the Melbourne Storm of recent years is dreadful. but maybe it's how they play and how they approach those games. And I think
so. It's going to have to be more of a bash up middle mentality.
Bash up middle, and then
try to dominate over the middle.
Scrap your way to victory. And even, mate, you asked about where the points come from. The try Tupu scored at the end, right on the
which they've done several times this year, which usually comes off Walker though.
So they've got that in them if they need it.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they'll change quite a lot how they play, and I think even the setup defensively. When I watch them against teams like the Storm and against Penrith, Walker gets hammered. Like they send so much traffic at him, and then they move the ball and they send traffic at Keary.
Yep.
Now with them only having, if they put Manu in the centre in the halves,
then
it strengthens them up defensively.
Yep.
Which then
only gives them one side to attack.
It gives the opposition one side to attack. So, look, you're never going to want this. It's not the desired situation to be in. But I think if you go, well, hang on, how does this actually strengthen?
Well, I suppose they're not dead in the water because they've got quality players, obviously. But what about the last play of the game, the kick for goal?
Yeah,
who's going to be their goal kicker?
Suolihi.
Well, he's back, isn't he?
He's back.
Suolihi
kicks.
Of course he does, yeah. Okay, Suolihi kicks. All right.
Just on that game, on a pure football nerd perspective, and you'd appreciate this because it's something that you used to do. Tupanua on the chase back on the Xavier Savage. Saved his team 2 points.
Kept him. Well, that's what we used to get, and that's what a lot of people don't pick up.
Yeah.
Because it was still reasonably early. It was early in the game still.
Yeah.
And the wider you get them to kick, they're a big chance. So I know Brian Smith gets a hard time, but that was one of the things he made us do and made us want to have the desire to do. You know what I mean? Like we obviously had that in us, but he would look at the video, right? No one's chased back, boys. There's a big difference between scoring under the sticks and scoring in the corner.
Yeah.
You're a good chance of them missing the goal. We score a few points, we're back in the game. So, that sort of stuff does make a difference. Yeah.
Well, Tupanua did it, saved his team 2 points, and then also Hudson Young did it on the first Tupo try. He's come from the other side of the field and made the kick more difficult, and Keary misses.
Yeah.
So, I like picking up on things like that in the game. It's those little efforts, especially as coming to finals, that can make all the difference. Mate, the Raiders though,
the Raiders have got that in them.
Mate,
they've had
where's it been
just
all
an
year?
Inconsistent year. They've had a massively inconsistent year.
They no Fogarty. I don't know without Fogarty yesterday. I thought there were no chance.
Late withdrawal, but I don't know what style of footy they're playing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you need a style? But I'm not sure if they know whether they're because they've got some good forwards, some really good forwards. I don't know if they want to be a dominant team or a flamboyant team, a defensive side. There's their makeup of their side. I'm still trying to work out what they're trying to do because they do like a grinding game, and they can score points like that. They're one of the best teams that, very similar to what the Warriors did against the Sharks. They can score points. The Raiders. It's just getting to understand how they're going to play the game. What is their game plan for the week?
And they're so unpredictable.
Yeah.
But when it goes wrong, it's horrible. Like that game they had at home against the Cowboys, that booed off at half time. It's like, but then they beat Penrith. They come up here and they beat the Roosters.
Yeah. I think they enjoy games that they're not given a hope in hell of winning. And I think we all do.
Yeah.
Because the pressure's off. Like you go into a game when no one gives you a chance, no one gave the Raiders a chance at all to beat the Chooks on the weekend.
They carried that underdogs tag.
Well, I think everyone enjoys doing. Yeah. But they enjoy it more so because Ricky loves that.
Yeah.
Let's ambush the ambusher.
Yeah, well, I remember at the start of the season, there was signs on the dressing room wall. It was like, basically, fuck everyone.
Yeah.
But no one gives us a chance.
Yeah.
But just on the game itself, there was obviously the injury. Brandon Smith was caused by a hip drop tackle from Elliot Whitehead. Now, Whitehead, I know him very, very well. One of my good friends. I don't think he's that type of player.
I don't think anyone is for that. Nah. With that sort of that tackle. And this is what frustrates me. And I don't understand the tackle. I don't understand how you fix that. I really don't. If you're going to end up in that position a lot, we all have. You know, I did my ankle in the same situation, but I understand blokes have got to tackle you, and you get in these positions where you can't help yourself getting around to that spot and making a hip drop tackle. So I don't get how they're going to change that.
No, I'm with you. Like I watched it, and it wasn't like I think Pat Carrigan did one on Jackson Hastings a couple of years ago, and that was like, ooh,
yeah, under the sticks nearly, wasn't it? Yeah,
and it was it looked really bad.
But how do you stop that? How do you stop that? You've got a big bloke coming at you. Sometimes you make good contact, other times you don't. You get a bit of a shoulder past you. You're holding
reaching
on.
and you are holding, and you can't let go.
You're in a position. What do you do? Just let go. And if you keep your feet, they're just going to keep.
Yeah,
they're going to keep walking you down the field.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate consequence of our game that injuries are going to happen.
It is an unfortunate tackle, and I think that's to try and wipe that out and to be sin-binning blokes left, right, and centre for it, because it's not going to change. You can't change it.
No, well, it's obviously been policed out of our game for where they've taken the really bad ones where the player is stationary and then the players like literally drop to the leg. But some of them are happening at such high speed.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to eradicate.
Yeah, and with 3 or 4 blokes in a tackle and you're being bumped off, but you're holding on by 2 fingers around his collar, and all of a sudden you've lost your legs and you're on the back of his legs by accident. But what's the difference between if someone's making a break and you dive?
Yeah,
and go under their knees, as in you're chasing them, but you have to dive to get him. Where does that come into it?
Well,
because you're still landing on the back of his legs, but you'll land on the back of his legs with your
chest
and your shoulders.
Just don't chase back,
or just try and ankle tap.
Ankle tap, yeah. I don't
They'll ban
know.
that soon.
They were ban the ankle tap. Whitehead,
someone will smash their ankle bones and they go, mate, we can't ankle tap anymore.
Whitehead was also sin-bin for a bizarre sort of fly kick stop the offload.
Well, he was trying to stop the off. And I've done that as well. He's trying to kick the ball out of his hands.
Was he thinking Crichton was going to offload, so he's trying to get his foot there to block it, or was he going for the one-on-one strip?
I think
he
was going, you know what, I'm going to kick this out of his hands here.
You reckon?
But was that worth 10?
I don't know.
I thought it was. I thought I would have tried that. I've tried that before. I haven't kicked a bloke in the chest, but it wasn't a. He hasn't like he done a fly kick and kicked his face.
He
off.
wasn't Eric Cantona going into the crowd.
No, it was a little tap with his. And Angus didn't even.
They were both laughing.
Yeah,
they were both laughing.
He got 10 for that.
Yeah, but anyway, after the game, there was a bit of heat between Whitehead and Coach Robinson. Whitehead goes into the sheds to look to check on the welfare of Brandon and apologise. Said, "Look," and Robbo, I think, had just decided, "Look, mate," he sort of disagreed with Whitehead, and
without knowing all the information, I'd be listen. It's one of those things that happens in the game. I understand why Robbo's a bit cranky at that point.
Oh yeah,
I think if Robbo had his time over again, I don't think he'd say. Well, we don't know exactly what he said.
Well, it was brought up in the press conference because Whitehead had brought it up. So then Robbo said, "Well, look, it's been brought to the forefront. So, unfortunately, it's in Elliott's game. I like Elliott, but this isn't a first offence kind of thing." So I can understand Coach Robinson being upset at that particular time. He's lost his star hooker, his star halfback, his star back rower. They've just they've just lost the home semi for week 1, and everything's starting to change. He's trying to juggle in his head. Well, is it Joey at 6? Is it Kiri at 7? All these different things. The timing of it isn't great, but again, the press do blow it up. Robbo says a couple of things, and it's this argument, disagreement.
It's news, isn't it? It's news, and it's.
It actually is. I don't actually think what either have said is that bad. A couple of other very strange games over the weekend. The Warriors coming to spoil the party at the Sharks.
But that's the Shark season. That's what they've been tossing up though. So they can play some really good footy. They were playing some really, really good, tough footy midway through the year. Their defence was outstanding. They were bashing teams. Yeah. They were on the front foot. Their play the balls were quick. and all of a sudden they just went missing, and sides were knocking them over, rolling them. And then they'd come back and they'd score some points, but then they'd only play half a game. And that's what happened on the weekend against the Warriors.
I think they were 22-6 up at
22-6 up, yeah.
A couple of tries disallowed, and then just fell into a hole.
But you got to know, you're up against the Warriors with their last game of the year. They've got the shits that they haven't performed as well as what they thought they were going to perform. Sean Johnson's last game, you're sitting in the sheds at halftime thinking, these blokes, they're not going to lie down. They're not going to lie down, and they've got some footy in them. So I don't know where their mentality was at halftime, thinking they'd already got it sewn up, or the Warriors, because the Warriors, their footy in the second half wasn't superb.
Yeah, Johnson obviously was heavily involved, but then Warriors came back, Sharks got back in front, and then like literally you've got to focus for one more set,
and Sean Johnson throws the last pass, and DWZ, we know he's a great finisher. I think, what did he score? He's 100th try on the weekend.
Yeah, something like that.
So, yeah, but look, Sharkies, they'd be disappointed with that for sure. Because it's like similar to the Dragons. You know, all the opportunities under the sun to secure spots in the 8 or improve their hold on the 8th spot, and they toss up the half they did against the Eels, then come out and score 5 tries in 10 minutes.
It's funny what pressure does to teams and
momentum.
Pressure, momentum, but also what no pressure does to teams. Like the Warriors.
Yeah.
They're under no pressure.
Well, they're going out there going, you know what, let's spoil the party.
Yeah.
We've got nothing to play for here. Let's go out and play some good footy, and you relax a little bit more, you enjoy the game a little bit more, you warm up, you have a bit of a laugh in warm up instead of just being straight faced. And
they're on Mad Monday now. How good's that, by the way? They get the Mad Monday.
That's it.
Like the chat in the dressing room, like, come on lads, tell you what, if we win today, this happens on Mad Monday.
Well, they had their jeans packed.
Yeah,
you know, they've got their bags. They had their jeans in it. They're going out shoes. You know,
they're bringing their best, aren't they? Because Saturday night, bring your best, or maybe jeans and a t-shirt. Sunday jeans, t-shirt, maybe a shirt. I don't know. But then you got your dress up day Monday. So I wonder if they're allowed to. I wonder if they go. You playing for the Warriors? Do you have your Mad Monday in Sydney, or do you go back?
No, get close to home. Because when you come in, the next when you're sad as hell, like I'm a sad, I'm sads. A Sunday sad. Oh yeah, Sunday sads from hell. Yeah, like, honestly,
you reckon
I need to be close to home.
Well, that plane ride home would be a tough carry,
mate.
On the Tuesday afternoon.
Put me in 23C, right near the shit house, because that's where I'd be spending most of my time. Like sad, hung, spewing. I don't handle hangovers well.
Oh really? I think I thought you'd be better than that.
No, I don't push through. No, I feel sorry for myself and go, I pray to God, if you get me through this, I won't do it again. I've done that twice.
Speaking of drinking in the Sharks game, mate, I Saturday spent some time with the family. They all went to bed, so I was just drinking at home, having a couple, watching the game, and a few of my mates were at the Sharks game, but in the Chinese, right? And they're like, "Come down."
Can you see it from? Can you see the game from there?
They're like, "Come down," and I was like, "Oh, no, it's a corporate box." And I was like, "Look, I just can't really be bothered going through the ground." And they were like, "No, you don't need to go into the ground. You go in this shopping bay or the shop
fronts,
shopping centre thing."
Is that the unit? Unit.
I guess it's like a complex, and you've got like a Coles and a few of the different things knocking around, and you go upstairs and you just walk into this Chinese restaurant, and their table's literally there. I was literally there where Dallin scored that try.
So you overlook the footy in the Chinese restaurant?
It's insane.
That's outstanding, because I do love a Chinese feed.
It is a great way to watch the football.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
What did you eat?
Brilliant. I'd already eaten, mate, so I got there.
There's always room for Chinese.
Yeah, I know. I stick to the lager beers.
Combination omelette. Because are you an eater and a drinker, or are you just a drinker?
No, I do. I like to not really Chinese. Because I already.
But if you're so it's Sunday afternoon. You decide you're going to have a few beers. Do you eat?
Like whilst I'm drinking?
Yeah.
Don't want to go too heavy. I'm a bit of a snacker. So hot chips, they're okay. Chips and dip.
Yeah.
That's all right. You don't want to overdo it.
Because I get tired if I have if I have a proper meal, I'm see you later. I'm in bed. I don't bounce back from a meal.
So you've got to be careful. You don't want to overdo it.
Just graze.
Yeah. So I'd already eaten the Chinese food. I didn't even touch any of it. It was just drank, but it was a great experience.
What time was Stumps?
Got home about midnight actually. So obviously didn't go home.
And then for Father's Day, what did you get for Father's Day?
What did I get for Father's Day? A pair of Crocs, which are very first pair.
You'll love them. Crocs are outstanding.
Very first pair.
Very
of
versatile.
Crocs. Yeah.
What colour?
They're like a creamy white colour.
They're ladies' ones.
No. They're the wrong size though, so the wife has to take them back and swap them out. They're a bit small. They got them in the wrong US size.
What size are you?
12.
Go a 13.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Go on up.
Go on up.
Because you can always stick them in four-wheel drive. Pull the strap up the back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, got a pair of Crocs. What else did you get? Maltesers. Socks, mate. Socks. Like, loads of ankle socks and, workout socks.
What's a workout sock? How far up does a workout sock come?
Obviously for people listening and obviously people looking can't see. Probably
right where your tan line is.
Yeah, just not up, not straight, just below
that's
the
too
calf.
high.
Just below the calf.
Because I love socks. So back in the day when Asics was good to me, when I was back in the playing days, I had bags and bags of socks. I used to just order socks.
Yeah.
I've still got them at home in storage.
Mate, it's brilliant.
Socks everywhere. And now I've got 4 boys. 3 of them are size 12. My socks go missing. My socks, my undies, everything goes missing.
I reckon there's a sock thief.
It's called a dryer.
Yeah,
bastard steals them all the time.
Yeah. What did you get for Father's Day?
Absolute crap, I must say. And I hope my wife's watching. She didn't really think about it at all. I think she just sent the kids to the shop on Sunday morning to try and find. She came home with a jumper, a heavy woolen jumper. And I said, "Do you know what?" I said, "Do you know what month it is?" She goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Have you noticed the weather change?" Oh, yeah. And a bag,
like a man bag.
Well, she said it looked bigger in the photo, but when I opened it up, it was like this. And I said, "What am I going to do with this?"
That could have been taken out of context as well. Couldn't it? Just like, oi.
So they were both R.M. Williams it was both R.M. Williams. So she thought I'd like them.
So what type of, like a backpack?
No, it was like a leather travel bag. Very nice looking bag, but I'm not going to use it. I take an old shitty backpack wherever I'm going.
Have you still got your old club?
I've got them all. I've got them all in the shed. I've still with the numbers on them.
Yeah, you still travel.
Yep.
How good
still
is
got
that? The ex-footballer, just like never buy.
Still got it. I'm not.
I don't reckon I'll ever buy luggage ever. I reckon I've got enough bags / cases on wheels that'll see me through till death, till my death.
Well, I thought that was going to happen with my joggers and all my casual footwear. So with Asics again, look, I went into storage the other week and I've got an 18-year-old and I've got an 8-year-old. So I got all these shoe sizes that are this big for that my young bloke would have been, my oldest boy would have been wearing when he was 8. So I've tried to bring them back
just recycle
10 years later. So my youngest one's worn them on cross country and they've lasted half a lap. They've just all fallen apart and disintegrated. Shoelaces snapped, the sole came off them. They were good 15 years old.
That's devastating.
It was devastating. Now I've got to...
No, you're going to have to get your wallet
burn
out.
them all. Yeah. Put them on the bonfire.
Not just the game that was there for the Cronulla Sharks to win and what was at stake. The big talking point, I think, is the Dragons, who, and we talk about attitude and pressure. In the context of the season, I'd mentioned it before about Para should have really, in my opinion, rested players for that clash against the Dragons because despite them winning, it does nothing to change the situation. No. So their mind really was on next week. There was no pressure going into that game against the Dragons. The Dragons, it was simple. They were in pole position. They knew if they lost, they opened up the door to the winners of the Broncos v the Redcliffe Dolphins.
Just Dolphins, not Redcliffe.
Sorry. I can call them Redcliffe are for.
I don't know if we can. Can we call them Redcliffe Dolphins?
I think some people do, just out.
Just because they're from Redcliffe?
Yeah.
And they're the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be taking offence by that. Like, some people take offence by St. George Dragons.
So George Illawarra. Well, I would take offence to that because
yeah.
I'm not far from Steelers territory. I was up the mountain from them.
And I understand that.
And Balmain Tigers.
Yeah.
I said that once in a call. Balmain Tigers.
They
holy shit. I quickly learned. Do not say that again.
Well, when I was at the Dragons, I remember referring to them as the St. George Dragons, and I got can we do that again? Because it's the St. George Illawarra, because they cannot, it's like they're just waiting with their keyboard ready to just go, I can't believe the history. It's like, just settle down. It's just a slip of the tongue. It's
like the Melbourne Storms.
Storms. It
should be the Storms.
Mate, do you know what? It's actually really difficult when you play for the Bulldogs and you have interaction with the fans not to call them the Storms, because that's how everybody refers. And it's kind of that like infectious language where it's a social, it's contagious, right? It's like, yeah, we've got the Storms. Oh.
Yeah.
And then the Storm. Is it? And then you're like, hang on, is it the Storms? Like,
it should be the Storms. It's like the Dogs finished with an S, Eels S, Rabbits S, Dragons S, Tigers.
Yeah, and Storm is it plural?
There's a storm on the way.
Yeah,
there's about to be a storm.
There's a couple of storms happening.
See,
like you can use
storms.
Yeah.
Melbourne
What
storms.
What are we expecting over the next couple of days? Have we got plenty of storms?
Yes.
This podcast is going from strength to strength.
I've added so much to this. I've added so much to it.
But just on the Dragons, and obviously they opened the door for the Dolphins to come into it. What on earth happened to them? Like, how? Like, even at half time, like Flano's giving them a bake.
Yep.
And then they were arguably worse to start the second half than they were in the first.
What I reckon is they underestimated what Parramatta can still produce as a team. Yes, they are running last. They're running equal last, but they still have players in there who can play footy. I thought Dylan Brown was one of his better games. I thought he was everywhere, Brownie. And he just needs to do that more often. But I think they've gone into that game going, we'll roll these boys easy. We'll get a start on them. They'll lie down, play dead, because they've got nothing to worry about. It means nothing to them this game. But the Eels are going, you know what, bugger this. It's our last home game. Decent crowd. And we're gonna spoil the party for you guys, the Dragons. So, and just their errors, they looked a little bit nervous, a little bit clunky. You could kind of see in the back of their minds, they're going, we need to win this. That was their thought process. We need to win this. And as soon as a mistake came, or a mistake on a mistake, they started getting a little bit tight and probably weren't as aggressive what they had been in the previous weeks. But again, the Eels' defence wasn't too bad either. So it's cost them.
Yeah,
it could cost them.
Well, it has. They can't play finals now. Or they need a miracle.
Well,
they basically need Newcastle and
to have a draw.
Dolphins to draw
in extra time. After extra time, they have to finish with a point each.
Yeah. Is the only way that's going to happen. Which, I mean, if that's what you need to play finals.
Well, the Knights, they played in a extra time draw, was it last year?
Yes, I think they did.
Out at Mudgee.
But I think if that's what you need to play finals, then you probably shouldn't be there. And Coach Flanagan was livid after the game, storms out the press conference. Were you nervous towards the end as a Para supporter when they were coming back?
I was a bit of both. Being a Para fan, obviously, but I was a little excited to see what the Dragons were going to produce as well. And they got close, but I think the clock. Obviously, the clock was on the Eels' side, but it only seemed to happen when Gutho wasn't on the field. So that it was But he was shitting himself on the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
He was shitting himself.
Were you there? You're celebrating. You're like, hey, and then it's
good win.
Hang on a minute.
You got your heads on here. Hurry up.
And when Lomax decided not to kick that goal, just that one play. You know what Benny Hunt's played? It wasn't that far off coming off. A little drop play and the kick again. That would have been the comeback of all ages. Like we said, it did open the door for that the Battle of Brisbane, which was just absolute domination from the Dolphins.
The Dolphins, yep.
Not the Redcliffe Dolphins. Mate, Kevy now goes from the grand finalists. For me, they didn't lose the grand final. They had it. They won
had
it.
it. That was.
They were thinking about what could be, what was about all the imagined riches of
that sort of grand final haunts you because you had it. You had that's one of those ones that's gonna.
It was over.
Yeah.
They'd be thinking about all the what ifs. So a month down the track, we would have had this celebration.
Yeah.
Oh, we'd be, we would have had this. Imagine all the third party deals that would have, all these things that they basically had was sewn up.
It's making me feel sick thinking about it.
It would be horrible. They've gone from that to now missing the eight altogether. For me, you know what was quite telling? When Carrigan scored.
And the lack of celebration.
It was like he looked. And I think
it was only that Willison that pretty much looked like he got half excited.
Yeah. And they just come back into the contest there.
Yeah.
Carrigan scores. When he scored at the Gabba was it last year or the year before?
That was his first in ages. They all dived on him.
They all were diving on him. It was like, yes, he's our man, he's our lead.
Yeah.
Like,
I was expecting a lot more from the Broncos.
Yeah.
So much more.
But it looks like, I don't know, maybe that grand final stuff, that there are some issues within the playing group. Because when Carrigan scores like that in a derby to bring them back into it, I think some teams overdo it. Like Penrith come and they jump all out. I don't need any of that.
I was a handshaker. But let's get a bit excited, guys. We're in this. We're still in this. Yeah. Oh, look, I don't know what happened with the Broncos this year. You know, obviously they've had some injuries, key injuries. You know, Reynolds didn't play. He's played some games, but I was hoping he went off for a HIA, right? Got cleared, comes back on, barely saw him, and he's your half. He's your key man. He's the one that's going to help dig you out of the shit. I didn't see him.
They've got. I think it comes to a little bit of connection piece where I don't think they're as connected as they once were. They had that little bit of a scuffle. In before the season kicked off, which I mean that shit happens like that.
Yeah.
But even, you know, it got brought up the other day. Like, so Billy Walters does a segment on Triple M.
Like speak about his
dad.
Man,
so he pulls out of it, and then Reynolds comes in. And it's a bit like I work for the station, but
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's a little bit of a FU. Like it's a little. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
Well,
I don't know if I could do that.
It was spoken that I think they're a sponsor of the club as well. So the Broncos asked Adam Reynolds to fill in. But surely you just go, you know what?
If one of your teammates is stood down because they're bagging your coach, but your mate's dad.
Yeah. You know a little bit of solidarity to just go, look, I respect your wishes. Thanks that you want me to do this, but I'm going to stick together here.
Yeah.
And again, like you go back and watch when Carrigan scores, it's
quiet.
It's insane, the lack of enthusiasm for... And especially when you compare it to what they did last time he scored.
Yeah.
When they were buzzing and they were a chance.
But there was no Ezra, no Walsh. Like he's been up and down this year, and I think teams are starting to work him out as well, you know, a little bit. So, but also too, I think there was a point where after Origin they were travelling to play the Warriors in New Zealand, and it was getting to that point where they needed to start. They were doing the calculations, and he rested them all. Didn't take him over. And they needed to kind of win that. That's where they needed to start winning games. And I was thinking to myself, if I was, regardless if they played Origin or not, boys, we need to get you over there. We need you to play. We need to win. We need to start winning some games. And he rested them all.
Look, I think...
And it's hard, that'd be hard to juggle. I'm not...
Yeah.
It would be very difficult to juggle, you know, because you're halfway through or 3/4 through the season. I don't want to burn them out. They've just played Origin, but... when your club has to win games.
When it's I get that point of view. It's like, well, this is just must win. We've just got to get the job done here, lads.
I know you're going to be busted. Look, if we're up, I'll rest you, but I need you to pull your socks up and get over there and have a crack.
Well, they've had some bad losses at Suncorp. Like they lost to the Dogs. They were beaten to the punch by them. They lost to the Dragons up there. They lost to Penrith, which was probably their best performance of the year. I thought that was when they were coming back. And then even the other week when they played Para, like Para got off
slow start.
Para got off to a
flyer. 16 blot up. Yeah.
So it's been an awful year. Do you reckon
Kevy's safe?
Kevy's safe?
For me, he's safe.
Yeah.
He took him to the grand final. They're playing some outstanding footy. Probably should have won the grand final, as we spoke about, but it's one season. He's had a bad run.
I think he's got
I think he's learned. I think he's still learning. I think as a coach, you know that with the Origin period, how to juggle all that sort of stuff. He's had some injuries this year with some key players for fair stints. So you got to cut him some slack.
Yeah,
I reckon you got to cut him some slack.
Yeah, I agree. There's plenty of reasons as to why it's not happening this year. I think he's granted some runway for next year, but like a team.
Well, they'll have to obviously turn it around next year. Yeah. And because Brisbane's always been the powerhouse up there in Queensland, and now the Dolphins rolled them on the weekend quite easily. You know, you got the Cowboys, the Titans. I thought this year gained a few more supporters, I think, from the way they turned up and played. And so everything's starting to change up there in Queensland.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely on to start the year, but any talk of him not being there,
for me, he's safe.
Yeah,
he's safe.
I think that's the general consensus, that the safety is there, but no doubt the spotlight is going to be on it. Like the kickoff for next year, it's they'll
want to be the first 5 rounds. I want to win 4 of those.
Well, Well, the draw, as soon as the draw comes out, we're all going to be like, who are the Broncos playing to start the year? And then the talk of like, well, here's our predictions.
Yeah.
And then But I
it
guess
comes with he's not going to be the only coach, though, is he?
No.
You got Rolls. He's coming to his brand new club.
Yeah.
Benji, second year now as head coach. He's starting to turn it around there a little bit. So there'll be people watching him.
It comes with the territory for being an NRL coach. It really does. Just quickly before we get into questions, Manly had a great win over the Dogs. It was disappointing from the Dogs after a good run, but
that's it. I think a good run, and look, they got. I think no Bronson this week on the left edge there.
Yeah,
but they got Crichton back. I just think they got out muscled. That big forward pack of Manly, Paseka, Olakau'atu, I thought was outstanding early, and then you've still got Cherry Evans, who's I think been flying under the radar a bit. Well, I think Manly have a little bit because they themselves, I don't think, have been setting the world on fire.
Well, they were embarrassed against the Tigers last week.
Just doing enough to win games, but that's all you need to do until the semis turn around. As long as you've got yourself cemented in that 8, it's anyone's game.
It looked to me like Manly came with a different attitude this week. They were embarrassed against the Tigers.
They seem powerful.
And they changed how they played. Like they scrapped the yardage shifts.
They
went through the middle, which worked really well for them.
Well, up against the Dogs are a smaller pack.
Yeah.
And they're a mobile pack. They're small but mobile. But yeah, I think they got out-muscled.
I don't think it's all doom and gloom for the Dogs. I think they needed this little bit.
I think everyone was waiting for a loss.
Yeah.
I know they've been riding nice and high and everyone's all excited. The Doggies fans are out and they're playing a really nice brand of footy, but they haven't really been tested, I don't think.
Especially that middle. That middle was telling, and they came with a clear game plan to look to exploit that. And after Reid Marnie scored before Manly had a touch. So credit to them for sticking in. Even when they started to come back just after half time, Kiko got that try pulled up against them. But then that was the first time the Bulldogs had kept Manly coming out of their own end. And Cherry Evans kicks that 40-20. It was just like, well, that's the difference. That is the difference. All right, we'll get stuck into some questions from our listeners. We got one here from Mr. Charlie White via Instagram. So thanks for this one, Charlie. Looking ahead to the Spoonbowl. The
excitement.
Eels against the Tigers, Campbelltown Stadium. It's going to be it'll be a sellout.
It's Friday night.
It's going to be tense.
It is. I've been thinking about this game for months. I shouldn't say months. I won't say months. Months is a bit. No, I didn't mean months. Like
You've had this marked on the calendar.
Several weeks, because it was going to happen. We could see it. The writing was on the wall. But no one wants to finish last. You don't want to finish last.
You don't want that wooden spoon next to your name.
And I was listening to some bloke, I think he's Sharon Woods, saying no one, I think that's who it was, no one cares who comes last. Bullshit. Your fans care if you come last, and the record books show you've come last, and a lot of people will remind you that you came last and you've got a spoon, and that's something you don't want on your resume. Do you have a spoon?
No.
See, I got one of me last year.
Did you?
Yeah.
And funnily enough, you've played in a Spoonbowl.
I played in a Spoonbowl
Against the Titans. Was that
up there at the Goldie? Yeah.
2013?
No, that was 2011. 2011, because we went, so Spoonbowl into the spoon, and then 13 was spoon. Well, I didn't play in 13, but I'm pretty sure it went back-to-back spoons for the Eels, 12 and 13.
What was it like playing in Spoonbowl?
Oh, mate, you shit yourself. Honestly, you do. You do tense up.
Would it feel like a final?
It does feel like a final. I know this. It'll sound silly to the audience, but you don't want to come last. You don't want to come last. And if you're going home from playing up there back to Sydney with a spoon, mate, I would have been locked inside Mad Monday wouldn't have existed.
Surely you'd have just stayed in the Gold Coast.
We were in a room at the Goldie after the game, and it was so sad and depressing.
But you won.
Yeah, we won, but we were up there at the Goldie. Like we didn't go out. We were sitting around. It was like drinking warm.
Man, you got to go if you're on the Goldie.
I know.
That's a mistake.
There was a year before it was the back end, and I was like, do I do a number on myself inside, or do I? And I just went, no. It was so depressing. Depressing year.
Mate, it's going to be a great game out there. Like,
well, Tigers want to shake the.
Yeah, they've won two in a row.
They want to shake this, being the and they don't want to finish last, and neither do the Eels. So this is a really good game. I think that both sides aren't playing shit footy. Yeah, they both can play footy.
Well, one of the worries is if the Tigers chased down a lead in their last game against Manly, and the Eels nearly blew a lead. Yeah. So, like, it's not going to be over till it's over, because even if the Eels are ahead or the other way around, they've both got the wobble. They've both got the wobbles.
It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great game. Look, and I think both coaches are obviously going to be nervous as well. Like Benji's first year, Trent Barrett, whose record's not great, doesn't want to have a spoon.
Do you reckon so in 11, who's your coach in 11? Was it?
It was Mooks.
Did he bring it up about the spoon? Like, would you?
No, we all knew.
Yeah, I know you all knew, but was it ever like, we're not going to win this?
I think but we're all saying that all week.
So the lads were saying
we're
tuned
boys,
in.
You pull your finger out and you're like, I'm watching everyone like a hawk, mate. You F up here, I'm going to kick your ass on the field myself. Like it was on. We shuffled a little bit. I think Luke Burt played 5'8". It was outstanding. I think I set up 3 or 4 tries for the boys, and we just ended up winning. So,
but no party after the game.
No, the young guys I think went out. I was just sad. I was beaten. Yeah, I should have retired there and then. Went round again for another year and won the spoon.
Question here from Daniel Wood. I think I'm assuming this one is aimed at you. What's it been like carrying Fletch for the last 10 years?
It's difficult. But it's been fun. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Not about rugby league, just about life.
Yeah.
Any
lessons you can share with us?
He's very switched. He's switched on. He's a go-getter. He's an entrepreneur. He's into his stock market. He's an ideas man. At the moment, I think he wants to get into tanning booths. I think
are they legal?
I've never used one.
They used to make an absolute killing in England.
Something Burgess uses one, doesn't it?
Sunbed shops.
No, it's not a sunbed. It's I think you stand there.
Oh,
remember spray gun?
Yeah.
Not ray gun, spray gun. Yeah. So I think you stand there and it just goes around you. Not for me. I've got 4 boys at home. He's got 3 daughters, so I think it's more common in their house. Well, I hope it is. My boys aren't spray tanning yet. But yeah, so he's
bit of a stigma around spray tan, isn't there? Like
for men, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we should, like, as we push towards equality, we should really accept that men should get spray tans.
You think?
Just
there's nothing healthy about a tan. Remember that tagline?
That
was a tagline. Yeah, there's nothing healthy about a tan.
Really?
Yeah, that was a skin cancer campaign, obviously. Yeah. So
maybe the sunbed shops, I think they got closed down, but they basically were just ways to clean cash.
Aren't they saunas now?
Saunas?
You know, infrared saunas?
Oh, yeah, but they in England, they used to have the
bed that shut on you, the neon lights. And in some of the movies, they'd cable time to kill people in them and to crank it up.
They did. I know what you're referring to. What a way to go that would be. Burnt at the sunbed shop to an absolute steak.
Who does what?
Burnt at the stake.
Burnt at the stake?
No, that's a saying, isn't it? Burnt at the stake. But it's a stake
of
wood.
Burnt at the stake. Like that was when they used to do the witches.
Yeah, instead of burnt at the stake, burnt at the sunbed. Like literally to death. Mate, you brought it up, not me.
It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. No, but the sunbed shops basically were just
because very big in the UK though.
Yeah, drug laundering.
A bit of cash.
Great way to clean your cash.
Gotcha.
Open up a sunbed shop.
Did you ever use one?
No. I swear it didn't. You know, actually, some sporting teams. It's one of those old rumours, like rumours. Man United used to make their players do it for vitamin D.
Yes,
absorption allegedly, but I don't know how true that is. I think that was some people
because there's no sun in the UK.
It's very little.
Yes.
Lots of vitamin D deficiencies.
Yeah. And fluoride too. Is that one? Is that one in the UK? Fluoride.
What's that?
Just shit teeth.
Is that fluoride in the water?
Yeah. I think we have fluoride in the water.
You have it here and we don't have it there.
I think so.
You know, this is quite sad that I know this. Like the Aussie water, like there's a difference between hard water and soft water. So the water in Australia is not conducive.
Is it the alkaline levels in it?
Don't know how hard water and soft water works, but I know that making a cup of tea is more difficult here in Australia because it's either hard or soft. And on that bombshell, we're going to be. I think that's about it. Yeah. So there's some interesting facts for our listeners. A sad peek into some of the shit that goes on in my brain.
And that was the second time I got crabs. Yeah.
Andy, been an absolute pleasure to sit and talk with you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
We'll see you next week.
We're back Monday.
We might have the cheese.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Well, it's obviously busted, but he'll go under the knife, won't he? Has to. Yeah.
I imagine so.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we get him in here, eh?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
All right. Beautiful.